good, y'all? Welcome back to the lab. Today's video, kind of exciting. We have the new 13-inch MacBook Pro with the brand new M1 silicone chip, Apple's very own silicone chip. And this thing has been gaining a lot of noise because of just the processing power. And I'm going to show you guys how I use this in a real world situation. This is a base model. Some of you guys know, if you're new to the channel, I usually rock the 16-inch MacBook Pro that's maxed out for most of my editing needs. I use my iMac, and I also have the previous Intel version of the 13-inch model. I'm not really going to do too much comparisons. Think about it, like, you don't like getting compared to somebody else. I'm sure these MacBooks don't like it if they have a, anywho. So having the base model actually gives you a good idea of where you want to start versus how much you want to upgrade. This model in particular comes with 8 gigabytes of RAM, 256 gigabytes of memory, and I'm going to run it through some tests. I'm going to try to edit some red footage, and I'm going to show you guys a quick little unboxing, but then we're going to dive more into the software. So why should you trust my opinion or just my review of this laptop? Well, I've been editing on Final Cut Pro 10 since the release. And the thing about this M1 chip is that it's optimized for software that's Apple. Final Cut Pro 10, Apple. Compressor, Apple. Safari, Apple. Almost all the apps that I primarily use on a daily basis are Apple. Notes, reminders, calendar, even the mail app. All right, I'm gonna just get this video started. We'll do a quick unboxing, and then we're just gonna run this thing and we're gonna see what's good. Let's look at what comes on the inside first. We have a USB-C to USB-C cord. What else is in here? Oh, that's it. Just book. Some stickers. We have a 61-watt charger. And that's it. That comes with the box. And here we go. It's our first time turning it on. And here's a quick side-by-side comparison with the older model, old model, new model, old model. Alright, you guys, so we made it to the point where I did the whole initial setup with your Touch ID, setting up your name and all that good stuff. If you were setting up your MacBook at the same time as me, I'm going to walk you guys through my initial setup process, some software I would download, and just a couple of new things that I've learned along the way. Something that's cool that I just learned, this function button right here actually toggles the emoji feature, which is pretty cool. Back then it was just a function, like just a function only button. I tested it on Jalen's laptop, and when you hit function, it would just go to F1, F2, F3. The very first thing I would do is I would clear everything out of the dock. I don't know, it's just my way of setting up my Mac, and I just don't like anything aside from the essential things that I actually use. So all of this is going away, and most of the stuff, I'll actually use calendar. I just want to get rid of all the unnecessary stuff. Next thing I'll do is I'll change the background. Yeah, so I'm making this thing black, all black, everything. Now, super clean and ready to rock. Next thing I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go into the App Store. I'm gonna download some software. This is software I feel like is essential for me as a creator, for me as a storyteller. This is one of the reasons why I feel like I'm pretty fit to make this video, is because I actually use Final Cut Pro 10, and I've been using it for a pretty long time. And you see right here, right off the jump, it's $299.99, and it's just showing you guys how much it would cost if you didn't already purchase it. So I've been using Final Cut Pro 10 pretty much since it released, and I paid the $300 initially. And since then, I haven't had to pay for any updates, nothing. I have it on this laptop, I have it on my iMac, I have it on all my previous Mac products, and it hasn't charged me a cent more since the day that I purchased it. So just know that it's kind of pricey. 300 bucks is a lot of money, but it's probably, I mean, I want to say it is one of the best investments I've ever made in my life. I don't say that about too many things, but Final Cut Pro, get it. So all I'm gonna do is I'm gonna sign in, and I'm gonna let that download real quick. And the free alternative is to use iMovie. iMovie, I would never discredit iMovie either, because I actually started using iMovie before I got into Final Cut Pro, because the computers at my old high school had both pretty much, but iMovie was like the beginner version, and I started using that before I ever even got into Final Cut Pro. If I just go over here, I'm gonna create a new desktop, and to do that, you just swipe up with 3 fingers, and then boom, and then to go over to the next one, just hit Control and go over next. Super simple. Just gonna look up iMovie. This comes free with every Mac that you purchase, free. They give you this. They give you pages, numbers, they give you iMovie, they give you notes, reminders, all these things free. If you're a beginner, I highly suggest you dabble with iMovie. Get the wheels going on just thinking creatively, thinking of shooting, editing, exporting. If you can think of those 3 things, from the shot to the edit to the export, get those 3 things down first, get the formula going, and then when you want to get a little crazier, add transitions, more sound manipulation, generators, titles, sound effects, the whole 9, then you put the $300 in, invest in Final Cut Pro 10. But in the meantime, iMovie, not only is it on the MacBook Pro, but it's on your phone too, for free. I'm gonna make a video later on actually showing how I did that process of filming everything on the iPhone mini, editing it on my iPhone, and then sending that project file to my MacBook and finishing the project on my Mac. But that's all gonna be later. All right, so I'm just opening up iMovie just to show you guys the interface real quick. All right, so this is what iMovie looks like. I don't have actually any video clips to show you, but it looks very identical to Final Cut Pro. Final Cut Pro is just a little more fancier. Projects on the left, the events right here in this section, the playback on this corner, and then the timeline is right here. So let's go and jump and see Final Cut. I'm opening it for the first time. And a test that I wanted to run was actually editing R3D files, which are also known as red files. Some of you guys might know from my previous video, I just got the red Komodo, which I'm really hyped about. I haven't had the opportunity to really go out and shoot with it yet. A video's on the way. In the meantime, I'm gonna grab some of those files. I'm gonna see if it's compatible with this M1 MacBook Pro. Grab this hard drive. I have here a solid state drive that I'm going to plug into the MacBook. And interestingly enough, the new MacBook only has 2 USB-C slots. The old one, without the M1 chip, has 4 different inputs. Apple made the decision to knock 2 out, and we're just gonna have to roll with it. That's just what it is. All right, so you guys see my 2 terabyte drive. I'm gonna grab some of these Komodo files. Test. All right, so the base unit is only 256 gigabytes. So when you're editing per project, I would advise that you edit, your projects on your laptop as much as you can until you fill up the space until about like 20%. The first step is edit on your laptop, put everything in your laptop. Second step is get a solid state drive, put it on there. But then you always kind of want to always edit off of your laptop because it's the fastest. So just a little quick bit about editing red footage. It's not the most compatible with Final Cut. I tried it on my 16-inch MacBook, which is maxed out. This thing is maxed out, and I noticed that the red files are crashing on it. I went over to my iMac, and my iMac's on Catalina, and it was working actually pretty fine. It would crash every once in a while. I created some proxies through it and just found this flow. But I'm really interested to see if this M1 chip could actually process the red files without it crashing. So that's kind of the test I want to run it through right now. Just a note, I've been editing on this laptop all day today. If you guys look over at my timeline, I've been working on this video, building it out. I have about 9 minutes solid that's locked in. This new MacBook Pro has a 58.2 watt battery that's built in, and I'm actually pretty impressed by the performance of what I've been getting today. We're currently on 32% of battery, and I could show you guys this usage history just to give you guys a real life look into how much I've been using it for the past couple of hours. So you see here, I've been editing smoothly on the couch, here at my desk, here at the filming desk, and with no problem. Something that I wanted to note with the older MacBook was that, well, my fiance, Jaylyn, primarily used this as her editing machine. And with 4K files. Her MacBook, not to knock it, she would have problems. Spinning wheel of death. I haven't had Final Cut crash on me once this whole time. Another thing I had to note was that originally my plan was to edit the whole video that I'm working on the hard drive itself. But unfortunately, 256 gigabytes with the 4K files I was messing with the 6K files I was messing with, it was just too much data. And I had to transfer everything over to my 2 terabyte drive. So if you're looking to purchase this laptop and you're more of an intermediate pro level creator, I would highly suggest that you upgrade the hard drive space to at least 1 terabyte. I feel like if you have at least 1 terabyte, I would say you could probably put 2 or 3 projects on there. That all depends on your budget, and it also depends on the file sizes you're working with. The max, if you want to max it out, 2 terabytes. But base model 256 is not enough for me. Also with the battery, I know I've only been talking about Final Cut Pro, but on paper you're supposed to get up to 17 hours of web, and you're supposed to get 20 hours of movie watching time. I'm not personally going to do those tests, but you guys have seen from my Final Cut experience, if you want to edit, 10-minute video, just know that it's reliable. You can work on it all day. I think what you guys are gonna see next is going to be kind of crazy. What I did was I transferred some red footage over to the desktop so I could run this test. I installed the plugins, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new timeline, red test. And I'm going to import, let's make a new event, and I'm going to import these red files here. And I only grabbed a couple clips just to see what's good. And I'm gonna add these to the timeline. This is playback, which is crazy, just to show you guys proof that these are actual red files. I'm gonna go here in info, 6K, shot at 24 frames. You could modify the red settings. This is 6 minutes worth of footage, and it's playing back like... See, the thing is, when I was working off of my 16-inch or my iMac, these files are just... Once I added it to my timeline, it would just crash. And it was very frustrating in the beginning because I was super excited to get a new camera and to mess with red files for my first time. Look, it's rendering it out. Right now we're at 30%. I'm very curious to see throughout this time how much percentage of battery it'll take to render out 6 minutes and 30 seconds of 6K, 2K footage. In the meantime, we can talk about the trackpad. The trackpad has force touch. It has pressure sensing capabilities. So just say, for instance, in Photoshop, if you want to use a brush and use a little harder, then you can press a little harder. So it just rendered everything out. Final Cut didn't crash, and I used up 4% of battery, which is alarming in a good way. And let me try one more thing. Let me just try to stabilize one of these clips. Maybe this clip right here. When I was working off of my iMac, this would give me problems right here. Stabilizing 6K clips. I'm kind of salty right now that it's not crashing, but I'm happy at the same time because technology is moving forward, is making the lives of creators like us easier. Okay, now switching gears from Final Cut, I wanted to talk about notes. In general, I used to be the type of note taker that, pen on paper. The cool thing about the Notes app is that it syncs across all your devices. So if you have an iPad, a MacBook, an iPhone, it all syncs. Taking notes down on the app versus writing it down has boosted my productivity. I actually get to write down more ideas and organize it a lot better now than the way I did before. So you could create folders, you can also collaborate on notes, you can invite other people. Another app that I really love using is Reminders. Reminders is it's like a to-do list. It's very simple, easy to use, and it also syncs across all your devices. That pretty much wraps up this video. You guys got to unbox this new MacBook with me, set it up, see some of my favorite apps, and I am genuinely impressed by the performance of this guy. We still have about 22% of battery left. I'm gonna finish this video, export it to show to you guys. Aside from that, hydrate, never stop creating, and I'll see y'all on the next video.